All right.
Hello, Delatere family. All right. So, how did we prepare for our Azola? Because we have chlorinated water, we did our preparation in advance to give the water an opportunity to dechlorinate. Okay. And then we added some pig manure and dirt. So, you'll see because we add biochar in with our pigs to reduce the amount of um, odor and to charge the biochar before we compost. You'll see some biochar floating on top. Um, as we said, this is our first try, and we will try again just in case it's not successful. But what we added was a little bit of manure, pig manure, to each of these containers. And as you can see, we have 7 containers outside in full sun, and we have 6 containers here in partial sun. And I'm just taking out the big sticks out of the top of them, just so that the poor tiny Azola um, don't have to deal with all of that. But if you have a pond, then this is perfect because it is going to, you can just put it in your pond and then just put fish in the pond. And actually, fish manure is the absolute best um, manure for Azola. So that's an easy, cost effective closed system. However, we have manure, and so that's what we're going to use. Now, if you are going to use chicken manure, please be very, very careful. You don't want to burn up your Azola. Um, it's easy to get carried away, so uh, don't put too much chicken manure. So we put about 1 shovel in each, 1 scoop in each of these containers. And yes, they're different sizes based on where they are. And we're just going to try to see which one is the best environment. So how much Azola? Well, if you want to be really scientific, you can weigh it. But what we are going to do is be very unscientific and just put in about a handful. Really small, really great little ferns right there. And we're just going to sprinkle it around on top. So we'll just sprinkle it around, break it up, because you don't want them too clumped up, right? They're going to grow and they will fill this, and we will be tracking it. So just a little clump, as you can see, and just spread it around.
So these little green things are
That's
eventually going to fill
the entire top.
Okay.
And we will come back in about a week to see where our Azola production is in a week. Um,
So this is October 16th. So the time of the basically just kind of give a point in time for when we're starting this.
Okay, so we're starting this. We are in Louisiana, Zone 8B. So we're in the northern part of Louisiana, and our temperatures are still in the 80s. Azolla really likes this temperature. Now, Azolla caroliniana will grow in heat up to 100 and something degrees, but it will slow its production when it gets really hot. It will also go dormant in the winter when the temperature drops below about 35 degrees. But that's okay, because what will happen is it creates these little balls and falls to the bottom of the container. Doesn't matter if it freezes on top. And then in the spring, once the temperature is right, it will start to grow again. And, so once we do this and we get our Azolla growing, from this point forward, unless something really drastic happens to our production, we should never need any more Azolla, because
it grows back in.
It grows back every year. So these are the containers that are in full sun. The other thing is, we have seen Azolla grow in everything from 8 inches, because it just grows on top of the water.
So it's not going to fill the entire container all the way down to the bottom.
Right. So to people growing it in 4-foot ponds, or deeper. And so it really doesn't matter. This way you'll be able to see that if you just have a backyard garden with some chickens in there, oh, by the way, it makes the eggs extremely, not just yellow, orange, call it orange. Then this may be all you need, because you can harvest, and 2 to 3 days later, you can go back and harvest again and just keep feeding your chickens out of. This is a small mason tub. This one is the large mason tub, which is basically about, I think, 2 feet by approximately 3 feet. So
3.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere in that vicinity. And so we'll see how it grows. We only want to grow you only need to get enough started so that for what your production needs are. Now, here's the fun thing about this, why we really love this. In the spring and the fall, then production of Azolla growth is really, really fast. And so we will be able to dry the Azolla, and then use a pelletizer to create pellets that will then be available for use in the winter. Now, where is our Azolla taking us? Our goal, not this year, but next year, is to be able to harvest somewhere between 50 and 75 pounds of Azolla per day, because that's what we want to be able to feed our pigs.
Are you saying like every day of the week, or just how often during the week are you wanting to harvest this for the animals?
So the way you harvest Azola, you want to harvest at least twice a week. And that allows you to keep it nice and green. If not, it will go into, it will become somewhat reddish. There is nothing wrong with that. Still high protein, still great Azola. But if you want to keep it nice and green, it's good to harvest it at least twice a week. And then to also, so you can do it whichever way works best for you. You could just have enough containers so that you harvest each container on a different day, and you harvest it twice a week. Or you can do it in a way whereby you just harvest twice a week, dry it, pelletize it, and then feed it to the livestock as part of their feed. Now, we ferment our pig feed, and that works really well with Azola because you improve the digestibility of it if it is fermented. So that's what we're going for. Now, I have what is roughly half of the bag, probably a bigger half. I'm going to add a little more to that big jar right there. And then we're going to go to this little pond that is on the 29 acres across the street of our property over there. And we're going to go and we're going to put it in the pond because we really want to be able to harvest from there. And we also want that to be our foundation for our Azola. So each year that when that goes dormant, we'll know it's time, and maybe that won't even go dormant.
So basically, given the number of containers that we have here, plus the small pond over there, if something bad was really to happen and we lose most or all of this, or the entire, or what we'll set up in the pond doesn't make, we'll still have over here.
Right. So the goal is to have one or the other, and we'll track both in 7 days. We'll come back in 14 days. The other key thing to harvesting Azola is you don't want the mat to get too thick. So as Azola grows and it covers the surface, basically they say you want it no more than between 1/2 and 3/4 inch thick, because then the Azola is going to start dying off. So you want to really just produce enough so that you're harvesting it twice a week and that you're not letting that mat get too thick. That said, it might take us 2 to 4 weeks to get to that point where we start harvesting it. Okay, so now I'm going to get out of the sun and we're going over to the other side. And the reason why we really like that pond area, and it's not really a pond, you'll see it, it's not too big, is that there is a lot of shade. And Azola is supposed to perform really well in shade. So let's head over to the other side and get this planted.